This has to be the most damaging lie in Australian history, apart from obviously Schapelle Corby having weed in a boogie board bag that she never had. Everyone in Indonesia! It is, and you'll never guess, I've never said it before, if there was an NPC version of me in Elder Scrolls, it definitely wouldn't have as an option.
The Liberals say they're good economic managers, Outlander, but believe me when I say they aren't.
Seriously, the Liberals are good economic managers is a witch's curse on this land. It keeps the lower middle class voting for them because if the economy's going well, then I can get a house like my hero, the dad from the castle, right? No, the dream is over. Howard killed that dream of having this specific house and this specific version of Trivial Pursuit in it that no one ever plays. That has been killed. This is what the Liberals mean by being good economic managers. They mean sucking up all of your wealth and giving it to a few corporations, as is irrefutably proved by Alan Austin's work, who, if I could...
Give it a try, like kissing a peanut.
He's just so good. He's the only journalist in the country that just says, no, f*** you, there's no debate to be had, look at the stats, the Labor Party is objectively one of the best governments on earth, the Liberal Party is objectively one of the worst governments on earth. This is as provable as Isaac Butterfield revolving around the stake, except of course during a soy boy eclipse, in which case, oh f***, he's blocking my iron intake. Speaking of eclipses, the press want to keep that out of the public's consciousness at all costs, even when they're attacking Scott Morrison, and they are this election. But they're attacking him in this specific way of, oh, if only the party of Menzies was run by an actual adult. It's just that this good thing went sour by this guy who's unpopular for no reason at all. Which actually, from their perspective, is correct. The press have done everything they can to polish that turd, and still... And just remember, this election isn't about me, it's about you. And what a better example to illustrate this point than Scott Morrison's one-on-one interview with the face of the death of the public broadcaster. And actually, wait, that's not fair. There's her bestie, Annabelle Crabb, hovering over Auntie. Lee wishes she had that role, but nope, not even talented enough to be the worst. God, she's going to be missed when she's not the head of the 7:30 report anymore. This is a perfect example of the narrative that the Liberal Party will be pushing throughout the election campaign, which the press will let fly past, just like Lee Sales is now, that everything's fine except Scott Morrison. Have your little flirt with Albo for a term, then get back to the party of adults. See in here, look at what she lets fly.
The Australian economy has come through this pandemic stronger than all of the G7 countries in the world.
Now, stop. You've spoken for way too long, Scott Morrison. It's my turn to speak. Now, shut up! Why is he even comparing us to the G7? Of course we'd be doing better than Japan. Most of their monkeys are sitting around in hot tubs and not delivering people beers. It's just an inefficient system. It's honestly like saying, my Datsun is faster than this cement truck, therefore my car's the fastest car on earth. Why are you comparing us to these old, sluggish, huge, poutine-obsessed economies? Hey? Yeah, that's what I thought. Nothing to say. Coward. Australia isn't a G7 country, so you don't compare it to one. What you compare us to are the other developed nations, as seen in the OECD. When you compare us to them, we're 27th. 27th out of 38 comparable nations. We're the fat kid in an athletics carnival. Come on, champ, don't let him lap ya. The Liberals, not just Scott, the Liberals are one of the worst governments on earth at handling the economics of COVID. They're doing a little bit better than a country that's run by monkeys. And hang on, Scott, stop going on vacation. This is a business meeting.
And we've got unemployment down to 4% and falling.
Which again, if you translate that to global standards, we're 14th in the developed world, which I'll give them this, that beats 27th. But guess where we were under Labor? Consistently in the top 8. That's not even including that the Liberals killed 1 million jobs during COVID. You know how many the Labor Party killed during the GFC? 23,250. Liberals, 1 million jobs. Labor, Michael Jordan times 1,000. Come on. Labor of what? 40 times better? And I know what you're going to say, but Jodis, the pandemic was worse. I wonder where you got that idea.
That has happened during a crisis, an economic crisis that was 30 times worse than the global financial crisis that Labor faced. and our employment outcomes are 50% better.
No, it wasn't. The GFC was way worse than the pandemic. The pandemic was short and sharp. The GFC was long-lasting. We were the only country to come out of it unscathed thanks to this beautiful man that should be on our money. Put him losing his shit on our $2 coin. Most economies during the GFC stayed in recession for 3 to 11 quarters. Some of them still haven't recovered. Some of them are still losing jobs to this day. We gained all of those jobs that we lost in, 2 months? Isn't that amazing? Nod your head with me. Yeah, that's amazing. Come see my live show. Tickets on sale at friendlyjoddies.com. You're very smart. In contrast, 10 developed economies avoided a recession during the COVID crisis. Most of them were out of it in a quarter. We get any pushback from the world's scariest questioner.
I'll come back to some of the criticisms from your colleagues later, but just to ask you about the news of the day, the New South Wales court decision.
No, still not going to ask about anything that actually impacts the country. God, I'm glad that the country pays for your salary, Lee. I can't wait until you go. Seriously, just back to the pet store with you. Go on.
We got the budget back into balance.
Oh yeah, remember that? Projected down the line. We're not even close to over $500 million, but let loose, because they won't say shit. No, they didn't. The closest they got was a $690 million deficit, which still accounted for the largest expansion in debt out of the 36 wealthy member countries of the OECD since 2013.
Even our debt, given the massive interventions we've had to take in, is a fraction of what we're seeing overseas.
Oh my God! I'm starting to feel like those leb chicks in a domestic argument. Oh, this guy, I can't even, this f***ing guy, I don't even know where to begin. That was the reason you said Labor needed to be voted out in 2013, because of a debt a fifth of the size that we're currently in. And yet, what do you think the ferret's gonna say? Do you think she's gonna bring that up once?
My job is to focus.
Come on! Kick the ball in the f***ing goalpost! The goalie's asleep! No, mate, it's your business now. This whole argument of, oh yeah, comparatively we're doing well. Under Labor, we had the 4th least amount of debt in the OECD. Under the Liberals, 23rd.
We've cut company tax from 30% to 25% for small and medium-sized businesses.
So good. We cut one tax, and there is only one tax because it's still the Middle Ages. Come on, everybody line up. It's July 1st. Give me 30% of your hay. Look at this graph. Lee, look at it. Sear it into your wine addict, musical obsessed mind. Look, I'll dance it out like the musical Cats if you like. The coalition, a higher tax thing than Labour. Tell that to the Greek you know who owns a cafe who's always telling you, they look after small business, okay? I'm a small businessman, that's all I know. I know about small business and I know that that's the party that looks after small business, so I vote for them. Obviously I'm going to vote for them. If somebody else is good for you, you vote for them. Ah, he talks faster than Ben Shapiro. I can't get a word in. Small business.
We have 220,000 apprentices in trade training right now. That is the highest level of trade apprentices in training since records began in 1963.
See, this is incredible. This is when you know that the government's on the back foot. They are pretending to be a Labor government at this point. But what they have done to TAFEs in this country is tragic. However, the idea of TAFEs are funny, so it cancels it out. I'm getting a cert in media. Oh yeah, sure, you'll get a job. Like everything else, they privatised the TAFE system, so now a bunch of shonks can give out these worthless certificates that don't actually mean anything or that you have any skills. And I mean, no wonder Scott Morrison tried to weld without the mask. Not only are TAFEs way worse than they were under the Labor Party, but they're also, by proportion of population, yeah, it's all well and good to say that you've got more people in than you did in the f***ing 60s, but you have less as a proportion of the population, by a huge margin. Look.
We have the second rated highest pandemic preparedness in the world.
In the first few months of 2022, we lost almost 4,000 lives to COVID. That puts us 16th in the developed world. But no pushback at all to any of these stats. What does get pushback is exactly what the press lens wants you to focus on. It doesn't matter if you're looking at the ABC, the Murdoch Press, 9 Fairfax. They're all saying the same thing, summarised brilliantly by Lee Sales. God, she's articulate.
Let me put it to you that with the record of performance during COVID, which, as you point out, is better than around the world, and the economy doing relatively well, that there can only be one factor that's playing into the negative sentiment towards the coalition, and that, without sounding rude, has to be you.
See, this is what they're all getting you to believe. The coalition coalition are actually the competent ones. They're really good. It's just your fault for not seeing how good they are. I mean, I know that Scott Morrison's a bit lame, but we'll get rid of him. And then after Alba has his little term in office, you flirt with him for a while, go back to the party of adults. That's what they're setting this election up to be, because they know that they're on the back foot on this one. So they're trying to find an angle that slots in with your reality so they can manipulate that. God, I wish Alan Austin took Lee Sales' job after she leaves the 7:30 report. It'll never happen because the press are basically designed to hide the one fact that Alan Austin keeps trying to draw attention to, which only Michael West and Independent Australia publish, which is look at the facts. The Liberals suck. Statistically suck. There's no ideological battle for the soul of the nation. Governing is about metrics. You can measure them. Measurably, the Labor Party is up there with the best governments on earth. Yet every serious political mainstream entity in the f***ing country.
Is there bullying in the Labour Party? Scott Morrison look like leader, but is he leader?
So I beg you, draw your parents' attention back to the facts. Coincidentally available at thefacts, friendlyjordies.com. Get a shirt while you're there. Make sure you chuck us some cash on Patreon, like the video, come see my new stand-up show if you want to go really deep down the rabbit hole. It's a good show. Matrix 4 good.
Please share and comment below. Comment.